Let me grab all
It is Thursday, August 5th, and this is Jury Duty, a Big Brother podcast. I am Kyle Petty, and I am joined by Gina Morgino and John Dunphy, and we are live tonight because we have our very first endurance competition of the summer, and we're super excited about it. But first, let's recap everything that happened during the week. Let's see here. So obviously, Christian won Veto. Super exciting. That's Bay. We love it. Totally here for it. That left. Oh, hold on. Oh, somebody's watching us.
Hey!
It's probably Tommy from the living room. Kristen did not use the veto, and that left Whitney and Hannah as our final nominations.
Yep.
And of course, I assume if you're watching us with us right now, you know that Whitney was evicted. This was our second unanimous vote of the summer, 10-0. Whitney's out on her ass. What do we think? Not going to jury. That's the end of things for Whitney.
This was a weird week. Like all the previous weeks, I was felt very strongly about who I wanted out, and this week I wasn't I didn't feel as strongly about it. So I'm not sad to see Whitney go necessarily, but I don't mind seeing her go either. But I'm glad Hannah's still around.
I feel like
I'm sad to see Hannah. No, I mean, I didn't have strong feelings for or against Whitney. I just think it would have been more fun to see Hannah go. Especially after we now see how Tiffany is really running this house.
Yeah.
Okay, she is running the house. And I definitely would have found it very, very interesting if Hannah went home to see Tiffany's reaction to it, and then just to see how the cookout responds to it.
Sure.
I was happy, however, to get a little bit more clarity around Oz's aversion to really embracing Miss Hannah as part of the cookout. I mean, she says she doesn't trust her. I really don't know what that's based off of, but I mean, at least we got something.
Yeah. Some clarity.
It's been really confusing me. I'm like, I don't understand what is negative about another number on your side. Right.
And somebody who says they want to work with you and is willing to and has up until this point hasn't done anything to upset the apple cart. Right. So what's the problem, really?
Right.
I was I laughed at it on the feeds and I laughed at it again today where Tiffany was like, oh, something the 6, and Ozzo was like, well, I thought it was the 5 plus Hannah. I was like, so 6. What? What do you mean?
It's 6. It's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I have to say, I think Tiffany is playing a really, really strong game, but I am nervous because
there's potential to kind of play too hard.
Yes, I feel like she is making it too clear how smart she is. And that's a red flag to me. Especially when she's going to run around to people like Kylan and get all pissy because people didn't respond to her good morning properly. I mean, if you're going to be that wild, then you can't let people know that you're also that smart, because it's going to be a very, very easy reason for people to get rid of you.
Right. I'm interested to see now that we kind of heard in this episode tonight that Tiffany and Hannah have not only talked about working together, but are potentially talking about a final 2 type of situation. I'm very interested to see what happens with that now. But
I'm interested to see that too. It's just because we were kind of under the impression that Tiffany and Ozza kind of had something going on, and clearly that's over. That clearly.
Well,
that's
I mean,
over,
I feel like that's been over for a while because there was
it has.
Tiffany hasn't trusted Ozza because she gets too emotional, so she feels like she can't really talk game with her because it's going to be so easy to have her blow it up. So they haven't really been talking game for a while.
So he's very concerned with Christian because he's over here sitting and talking about how like he cannot be persuaded. He's taking offense to the fact that other people are suggesting that he is being persuaded, and then he was basically persuaded. Like to have his mind changed, and it's like I'm just very
easy to change his mind.
Yes, I'm very concerned that he's just not thinking for himself. Like, I don't know.
And again, like I remember saying it last time, like we were saying it earlier on in the week. It was like he needed Alyssa to make any big decision, and whoever was the last person to speak to him, that changed who the target was.
Yeah. Whoever spoke to him last, that's just what he thought. That's what he always thought, and that's a little scary. And I'm definitely worried for him going into this because now that the teams are over and he doesn't have any really like guaranteed safety and he can't play in this HOH, I'm definitely concerned for what happens with him because if the right person doesn't win, he is such a target.
But again, what's so bizarre to me is like a lot of people have said, yeah, we need to target the showmans, but they're all looking at getting Alyssa out. Every single one of them wants Alyssa out first and then we'll figure out Christian later. But like, while Alyssa is very smart, she hasn't proven that she can win her way to safety, where we've seen in other seasons, it happened with Jackson, it's happened with a lot of people, where if you are that good at winning competitions, you need to take the chance when you have it, because otherwise, like what's stopping him from winning back-to-back HOHs or like back-to-back vetoes and pulling himself off every time he's on the block? We've seen he can win competitions. So I don't think it's smart to wait for him to get rid of him until later, because it's only going to be harder to beat him later.
Right.
I agree with that. I guess, I don't know if I was in the house. I guess the other side to that is like, if you get Alyssa out, she's really the brains of the entire operation. So if Christian is winning, but he's so easily persuaded and manipulated, then like, I can deal with him later because when he wins, then maybe I can just talk to him and talk him out of whatever he thinks he wants to do.
But then, I mean, like, how are you going to pull him away from like the final two? If he wins his way all the way to the end and then has all of these competition wins on his resume, who's really voting against him? Unless he really
but that's assuming that we're allowing him to get that far. We just need to wait for him to win.
How would you not? If he keeps being able to win himself safety, how would you? You know what I mean?
We could also just wait for a time that he wins HOH, and then like get him out a little later because then he can't play the next week, and then maybe we'll just get him out that week.
But then you have to worry about the veto competition. Like
you do. I'm not saying it's not a
until
risk.
You get him out. You know.
Right. I'm not saying it's not a risk, but.
It's less likely that Alyssa's going to be able to win herself safety. We haven't seen her win anything so far. You know what I mean?
I know, nuts could go either way.
It's hard. It's hard. But I am surprised that no one's talking about Christian. Like at least, like you would think that you'd see people in the house having the same toss up, but they're all pretty much like, nah, gotta get rid of Alyssa.
I think there's a reason that we're not seeing people talk about Christian. I think that's because like I feel like Christian's strategy coming in has been win all the comps and make everybody love me. And I think that he's succeeded on both of those fronts. So, you know, he's part of a big alliance in the house. He's got a showmance. He's winning competitions left and right. Like right now, everything is going right for him.
Beautiful blue eyes. I mean,
but that's why
nice eyeballs.
Yeah, but that's why I think you're so right, Gina. Like that people should be targeting him, but but his strategy is working right now. So like the one person that he's closest to, his showmance, who everybody thinks is the brains of the operation, you know, that's who they're looking to get because everybody loves Christian, you know, and he's winning all these comps, so they know he can, you know, protect himself, possibly protect if, you know, up until this point. Now the team twist is over, but you know, up until this point, like of course you want Christian to stay around and be on your team if you're the Kings. So I feel like maybe now the team twist is over, he starts to get more people targeting him, you know.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not saying that he shouldn't be targeted. As a matter of fact, I absolutely think that he should be. I just don't want him to be.
Don't want him to be. Yeah, no,
but I could also understand why people wouldn't be just yet.
Yeah.
I do feel like Alyssa might be the bigger threat. Because she thinks for herself and she's very strong-willed.
She's absolutely a threat.
And,
like, no doubt about that.
Christian just does not. For as long as Christian is winning, Alyssa is basically the HOH.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they want her out. So, John, you had said that you are finding Sarah Beth to be like very annoying. I disagree.
Really?
I disagree. And I think that she's only being viewed as annoying because of the way that she's been edited. I think she's playing
1000%.
very smart. And so she sees Hannah, who she has been very vocal about being her target. She sees her talking to somebody else. You're damn right I want to sit there and I want to find out what we talking about. I kind of get that. Like, what's going on? Hi, hello. My name is Sarah Beth. What's happening? I get it. And I think she's playing really well, and it's made me more interested in her. And now that the teen twist is over, I'm extra invested in what she's doing, because now we're really going to really see what she does. She's been hiding behind the whole Kings thing for a little bit now. Let's see what she does.
I think for me, so I don't even necessarily disagree with her, thinking that Hannah is a threat. And I can understand why she wants to get Hannah out. It was just more of the meetings that they were having, let's say the Royal Flush having, deciding all right, trying to weigh why Whitney or Hannah should be the target because they're both on the block. And her sitting there being I just don't understand why nobody else sees Hannah as a threat, and there's red flag this and red flag that. And it's no. Well, listen, Christian has explained to people in the house that Whitney, it was specifically said that Whitney wanted to target all of the Kings if she had won, or if somebody that she was aligned with had won. So of course, people on that are in power, if Christian is the HOH and he hears that, of course he's going to want to target Whitney. I just didn't understand all of her well, I think it should be Hannah, and I don't understand why anyone on my team doesn't agree. It was just so all right, take a step back here. There's two people that are potential targets on the block. Let's figure out who it is. Yeah, maybe you want to go after Hannah, but maybe someone else in your team wants to go after Whitney. So if you get HOH next week, go ahead. Let me do what I want. It's just the outrage that she seems to be displaying over it just seems so oh, enough already.
See, I didn't take all of that. I didn't take all that as outrage. I took it more as I think Sarah Beth was a little surprised by the fact that she didn't have the pull she thought she did. So the outrage was more well, to me, just shock. They're hey, I'm not quite running things the way that I thought. And it's what happened here? Okay. That's kind of how I took. Yeah, that's how I took that.
Interesting. That's a very interesting take. I like that. Okay.
Yeah, okay. I think she was shooketh.
The main problem with the way that she was acting is that a lot of the house guests also did see it as she was getting angry and worked up and whatever. And her big pitch was yeah, sure. You guys are all fine with Hannah. I'm not, though. Hannah leaving is good for my game. This is what's going to benefit me. So her team and her alliance is looking at her being okay, what about the rest of us? So you kind of have to even if it is really just for you, you really have to work it in a way that's all right, this is how I think that getting rid of Hannah is going to benefit
everyone.
It's going to benefit the alliance. It's going to benefit the Kings. And she just kept pushing no, this is what I want for my game, for me. And it's kind of showing everybody, oh, so you're just out for you. So what are we going to be protecting you for? If you're not going to look out for us, which has been making her a really, really big target this week.
Right, which is also something that Alyssa had said. Because Alyssa said, okay, well, if everybody wants this person out, then why are we going to sit here and do the work for them?
Right.
That's not who we want, so why are we going to waste our time?
I mean, I was really rooting for Sarah Beth, but I'm also, I don't know, I'm feeling a DX. HOH would be fun, I think.
And I think this is a good comp for him, too. I think this is a good comp for him.
Yeah.
I could see Xavier doing well, but starting to struggle a little bit later because he's kind of a bigger guy. Derek X seems like the right, build for this type of competition where you're just hanging there. But the some of the girls that are still in are looking strong, too, though.
Yeah.
I got to tell you. I got a hot take. Hot take.
Sure, let's hear it. Let's
go. This might surprise some people, but who I'm rooting for on tonight is Brittany.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not because I want her to do well. It is not because I want her to do well.
Fun
okay?
HOH.
That would be exactly. I don't like her. I don't like her. I don't want her to win. I would have preferred her go out before jury. However, at this stage, with everything that's going on, I find that to be a very interesting HOH.
That would be really interesting.
Sure.
Yes, it would. Yes,
like
it would. I have no idea
like,
who she might put up.
Right. Yeah.
The people who she might put up would probably piss Asa off because it's going to definitely encroach on the cookout. I don't see a situation in which somebody from the cookout doesn't go up just because, not that I think Brittany has any knowledge of the cookout. I just think that at this point with numbers, that's what we're looking at. I definitely see her putting up a Kylan's because Kylan put her up.
Right.
Like things like that. So like I would love to see how Asa manages that. We've seen her have some difficulty dealing with Brittany getting any kind of opposition from the other people. I can't wait to see what that looks like when Brittany tries to come for hers. Do they remain hers? I can't wait.
I have some bad news. Brittany just fell. Literally, as you finish the sentence, gone.
It did look like she was starting to take a little bit.
I was like,
Because I've been talking the whole time. I haven't even been looking. Well,
she fell as you finished talking.
We've already talked about a little bit, right? Like Tiffany making all these moves, and like she's playing the game so well right now. But like, is there the potential that she could maybe start, overplaying at some point? And like, I wonder if getting the HOH power could do that.
I think she's already overplaying.
And that's right. But that's why I wonder. That's why I wonder if the HOH would be interesting for her, because that might be the nudge to like really kind of like causing waves. Like she's kind of like, she's managed to like kind of hold it together for now, like all the moves that she's been making. But I wonder if that HOH would push it over the top and like start to cause some ripples that and maybe start to put a target on her.
What? You know what? We got time. Let's get into it. So who do you think? Well, Gina wants to say something. Go ahead, Gina.
No, I was just gonna say my concern with Tiffany is like we saw in tonight's episode her whole master plan of getting the cookout to the end, and that whole like we pair up whoever and whoever, and she's had it planned out to like the last detail. My issue is, what if someone from the cookout doesn't win HOH and now 2 cookout members go up? Are you going to be able to pivot and change your plan when something doesn't go exactly the way that you planned it out? Or are you going to now flounder and kind of have to like, you know what I mean? Like, is she, she's planned it out so definitely that it's like, if something goes not according to your plan, what are you going to do? Are you going to be able to like make it work a different way, or is this all you really have?
And now at this point, so let's just say Miss Tiffany won. Let's just say she won. What does she do? Who does she put up?
If it's Tiffany, she would go through that plan of like 1 cookout member and their person.
So if I be
Brittany
and Asa.
Like in tonight's episode, she was making those pairs. Yeah.
Right. Yes. You're right. So then I think she'd put up Brittany and Asa.
Okay.
But then what if Brittany wins Veto? That's where it gets interesting.
Right.
Because
yeah.
now
Well, that's
no,
what I'm
because
saying.
now there's
like
nobody
you
left.
haven't really, you've planned it out so like to the T that if something doesn't go your way, what do you do?
Right. Ooh, yum. I
mean, I assume she puts up another like outlier from the cookout in that situation. It doesn't have to be Asa and Brittany. Then it would be like Asa and Sarah Beth or Asa and DX or like whatever. But even still.
Right. But what makes that interesting then is that now you're being forced to draw a line in the sands here.
So I would say if it was Asa and Brittany that were like the initial nominees, and then Brittany was able to come down somehow, I could see like Sarah Beth being the replacement in that position, right? And then,
I could see Sarah Beth being the replacement, but then that means that you have now said fuck Royal Flush.
I
right,
mean, yeah,
and that's why it's fun.
Well, who else?
She's
Yeah,
going to be forced
else?
to do that. Yeah.
I mean, I guess everyone that's left in the house, there's like, yeah, I mean, it's wild. It's just these 2 big groups, and if you were in both of them, like you literally have no targets.
Which is why, like, that's like what Kyle was saying our last episode too. Is like this is where it's going to really get down to like, all right, draw a line in the sand. Which one's it going to be?
Right.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
And this is usually
we already saw Kylan say, like, I would turn on my final two with Sarah Beth if the alternative was turning on the cookout. So, like, we're starting to see people have to make those choices.
Yeah, they're already being forced with that, and I think it's very
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I can't tell you how very uninterested I am in an Xavier HOH again. Like, that one doesn't really do anything for me.
You just want the drama.
I do want the drama. I do want the drama. Yeah, I think that's what we all want. I think that's really why we're all here.
Derek X.
How long was that there? And I was staring at feeds waiting for it to come up.
Derek X.
There it is.
Fun.
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. What do we think about that? So there it is. We now know.
So, what I was getting at before is that Kylan has been in everybody's ear all week being like, well, if we're going to take a shot at the Kings, it might as well be the Showmance. That is the duo that we have to break up no matter what. So I potentially, especially since Kai and DX are very closely aligned with each other, I see maybe an Alyssa? I don't know.
What do you think? You think Alyssa and Christian then?
Potentially.
Wow.
Sure.
Wow. It really is so crazy because Derek X, he's part of the Royal Flush. He is. But he's also, like we were saying before, he's very close to Hannah, right? So like if Hannah becomes an increasingly important member of the cookout, let's say, like does Derek X end up becoming more, helpful to them, like by doing what Hannah wants and not working? You know what I mean? I just don't know what's going to happen here. Like,
I don't know, but it's also like if he catches wind of an alliance that like his person is a part of, but he's not a part of, is he really going to do what she wants him to do?
I don't know.
Like, she's going to have to really justify her case for that without being like, no, well, I need this because of other reasons. Like, she's going to have to really have a strong argument to convince him to do what she wants him to do. Because if he knows the real reason why is he going to do that? They're not going to be loyal to him in the end.
Oh, it's very interesting. But I mean, like, if we're talking already about Christian and Alyssa, being targets, they're in the Royal Flush. So if she talks him into doing that because it's a showmance, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I got to tell you, I do certainly, I am wondering now, how does Hannah proceed? Like, do you think that Hannah will now tell DX about the cookout because now he's HOH and now things are kind of like not getting down to the wire, but in terms of alliance numbers, we kind of are. So do you think this might force Hannah to share the cookout with DX? And if so, then like what happens with that conversation? Like where do we go from there?
I feel like it would be wise for her not to, because this is the last pre-jury member evicted. So if she tells him what's stopping him from getting a number of the cookout out pre-jury who now can't vote for the winner in the end, I feel like it would be foolish for her to really let him, like, to show those cards until at least next week. Also, to be fair, though, if anybody is going to put Christian up and have to compete against him in the veto, DX is the one.
DX is the one. Not that I'm looking to have Bay go home anytime soon.
But it's smart for them to get him out as soon as possible.
Yeah, for the love of the game, I'm here for it.
The thing is, and as I think about this too, because I feel like we think about the cookout and the people that are in the cookout, and then we talk about the Royal Flush as if they're different people sometimes too. But when you really think about it, I mean, who is in the Royal Flush, right? We have Christian and Alyssa, and who else isn't that with them? It's Tiffany, right? It's Xavier. That's what I mean. Like when you think about it, how real is the Royal Flush when you think about it? Like how real
the Royal
is it?
Flush is real enough just so that the cookout can continue as the cookout.
Right, and that's why I feel like
pieces of like Alyssa and Christian kind of realizing maybe we're at like the bottom of this alliance, but like not enough for them to really act on it yet. But I for sure think we're going to start to see more of that now that the teams are dissolved.
Derek X.
So we stayed up to see who wins HOH. It was Derek X. We're here for it. We love it. This has been Jury Duty, a Big Brother podcast. Check us out on Tuesday for our next episode when we recap everything that happened here. And yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Tell a friend. We're out of here. That's fine. Goodbye. Do we want to end?